Our film begins in 1981 in San Francisco, with Chris Gardner inventing a portable bone density scanner and devoting his life savings to it. He tries every possible way to market and sell it, but because it's quite expensive, selling it is somewhat difficult. This was the cause for many issues with his wife Linda, who works all day to help pay the bills. At some point, he spots a dream car and asked its owner how he might be able to acquire one like it. The man replied that he works as a broker in the stock market, and Chris decided that he would apply at Dean Witter's company in hopes of being accepted. He sought to meet with Mr. Twistle, the human resources manager at the company, and even took a taxi ride with him to persuade him. Fortunately, Mr. Twistle was attempting to solve a Rubik's Cube, something no one could solve in less than half an hour, but Chris took the cube from him and solved it as they conversed. This prompted Mr. Twistle to pay attention to his application when a position opened. However, Chris's trip caused him to be late, picking up his son from daycare, as he had agreed with his wife. So his wife was upset with him and left home, taking their son with her. But in the midst of this, he receives a phone call from Dean Witter's company, saying they no longer have an interview for him, but that he should come the next day and meet Linda. His wife's at their son's nursery. He tells her the boy will stay with him. Late on rent, the landlord argues, demanding payment or eviction. They negotiate. Chris strikes a deal: paint the apartment for extra time to pay. While painting, police arrest him for unpaid fines and bills. This makes him late for his job interview at the company. He arrives in paint-stained prison clothes, looking disheveled. He tries to convince them he's qualified and great with numbers. The owner asks his opinion on hiring someone without proper attire. Chris replies, at least he wore nice pants, and gets hired. Later, he considers declining when he learns it's unpaid training. Mr. Twistle tries to convince him to manage and attend to the training. Chris leaves, pondering the situation at home. He finally calls Mr. Twistle, agreeing to start the internship. The company moves him to a cheap hotel, less than his old apartment rent, and he puts his son in daycare. During training, he had to complete a set number of calls to be prioritized for hiring. He planned to avoid drinking during practice to reduce bathroom breaks. This increased his time for making more calls, and gradually his life improved until he received a letter stating that if he didn't pay overdue fees, they'd be automatically withdrawn from his account. Unfortunately, he never got the notice. Chris received it the same day the deadline ended, and all his money was withdrawn. He went broke and struggled again, trying to sell any device. After a long day, returning to the hotel, he found the owner had evicted him and thrown out his belongings for not paying rent. He takes his son to the train station, unsure where to go, plays with him, and tells him a story until he falls asleep. They're forced to spend the night at the station. The next day, they stay at a homeless shelter. Some days, they find a place, others, they sleep at the station or on the street. But the 6 months pass, and finally, he's informed he's been hired at Dean Witter as a broker. For the first time in a long while, Christopher Gardner feels happy. We greatly appreciate your support. Liking and subscribing to our channel motivates us to keep producing innovative content. Hope you are enjoyed.